the young and the restless spoilers. Phyllis couldn't shake the unease that had been gnawing at her for days. Something about Sharon's behavior was off, more so than usual. It wasn't just the usual tension or the lingering bitterness between them, it was something darker, something more dangerous. Phyllis had seen Sharon spiral before, but this time felt different, more unpredictable, more erratic. So, when she called Daniel and Heather to discuss her concerns, she didn't mince words. "Listen," Phyllis said, her voice tinged with urgency as she paced the length of her living room, "you need to keep an eye on Sharon. She's not herself, and I'm telling you, she's capable of doing something drastic. She's been acting unstable." Heather, always the more pragmatic of the two, responded first. "What exactly do you mean by unstable? Sharon's been through a lot, but are you sure it's that serious?" Phyllis nodded, even though they couldn't see her through the phone. "Absolutely. I've seen this before. She's not just sad or angry, she's completely unhinged. I wouldn't be surprised if she tried to hurt someone. You need to be careful, especially with Lucy around." Daniel, who had been quietly listening, finally spoke up. "I've noticed it too, but I don't have any proof yet. That's why I haven't confronted her. I want to see what she does next, then we can take action." But the lack of proof didn't sit well with Daniel. He knew Sharon was dangerous, but without evidence, there was little they could do. So, in a moment of calculated risk, he had discreetly installed a tiny camera in Lucy's room. It was a drastic step, one that felt invasive, but he had to protect his daughter. Sharon had already been unnervingly fixated on Lucy, blaming her for everything that had happened to Faith. The accusations were relentless. Sharon was convinced that Lucy was somehow responsible for Faith's accident, despite how ridiculous the notion was. The camera was his insurance, a way to capture Sharon in the act if she ever crossed a line. Days passed, and Sharon's behavior only grew more erratic. She was often found muttering to herself, pacing around the house with a wild look in her eyes. But the most disturbing part was the conversations she seemed to be having with someone named Cameron. Daniel had heard the name mentioned more than once, and each time it sent a chill down his spine. He had never met Cameron, and there was something about the way Sharon spoke to this unseen person that felt wrong. Was Cameron even real? One afternoon, Daniel couldn't hold back his curiosity any longer. He cornered Phyllis in her office, the question burning in his mind. "Mom," Daniel began, his voice low, "who is Cameron? Do you know anything about him?" Phyllis froze, her face draining of color as she processed the name. "Cameron," she repeated, her tone laced with dread. "You're telling me Sharon is talking to Cameron?" "Yes," Daniel confirmed, "but I've never seen him. She talks to him like he's in the room, but I've never actually seen anyone there." Phyllis's mind raced, piecing together fragments of Sharon's past. "Cameron, oh my God, Daniel, that's not possible. Cameron is dead." Daniel blinked, stunned. "What do you mean dead?" Phyllis took a deep breath, trying to steady herself. Cameron Kirsten was a dangerous man from Sharon's past. He terrorized her years ago. "But he's dead, Daniel. He died, Sharon killed him in self-defense, or so she claimed. But if she's talking to him now..." The realization hit them both like a freight train. Sharon wasn't just spiraling, she was delusional, perhaps even schizophrenic. The thought of it made Phyllis sick to her stomach. Was Sharon seeing Cameron, hearing him, as if he were still alive? And worse, if Sharon believed Cameron was still around, what would she do? "Daniel," Phyllis said urgently, "we need to stop her before she hurts someone. This isn't just about keeping an eye on her anymore. Sharon could seriously harm Lucy, or anyone else she fixates on. We need to act now." Without hesitation, Phyllis picked up the phone and dialed Nick's number. She prayed he would answer, that he could get to Sharon before it was too late. The phone rang, seemingly for an eternity, before Nick's voice finally came through on the other end. "Nick," Phyllis said, not bothering with pleasantries, "you need to get to Sharon's place right now. It's about Lucy. Sharon is not well. She's talking to Cameron, Nick. I think she's lost her mind, and I'm scared for Lucy's safety." Nick's response was swift. "I'm on my way. Don't let her out of your sight until I get there." As Phyllis hung up, a sense of dread settled in the pit of her stomach. She didn't know if they could stop Sharon in time, but they had to try. The thought of Sharon hurting Lucy, or anyone else, was unbearable. She only hoped that Nick could reach Sharon before the madness took over completely.